Hey, Hope here with another video for you today. This time we're going into Abyssos 8th floor Savage door boss. Genesis of Flame. This is a standard raid wide. Next is Conceptual Octaflare or Conceptual Tetraflare. Octaflare is a spread, Tetraflare is a partner stack. These will be different than your normal stacks. One support will need to be with 1 DPS for every pair. Have your cardinal clock spot players rotate 1 clockwise to make these pairs. Any of these conceptual casts will delay until a later time. I'll tell you when. Volcanic Torches. Ground AoE indicated by blue flames start to move across the grid. We'll leave 4 tiles safe. Divide the arena into 4 quadrants. Do this the same way we made pairs. The north player and northeast player will take north to east. The corner tile is never safe, so you can completely ignore it. Look at the 2 walls adjacent to the corner tile as the mechanic finishes. If they are blue, these tiles are not safe. You will need to use the innermost tile. If one of these walls is not blue, then that is your safe tile. Sunforge. Just like in normal mode, Phoenix means he will cleave the outer tiles in line of his facing, and Snake means he will cleave the middle tiles in line with his facing. During this, the earlier spread or stack from Conceptual will go off. Flame Viper. This is a 2-hit line tank buster applying a bleed. This gives vulns on both hits, so you need to swap twice. Reforged Reflection. He will either grow from his legs like a dog, or have a snake grow from his body. For dog, you need to get knocked back from center or immune. For snake, you need to be outside the hitbox. We will end up doing both patterns. I'll review the snake pattern on the next casting. Rearing Rampage. Spread to clock spots. All players will be hit with very large AoEs, 2 at a time, that applies a vuln that will kill you if you get hit twice. This also determines the order for the next mechanic. You can let a healer stand direct center for better healing during this. Stomp Dead. First, an AoE on the party, then the boss will do 4 jumps in total, needing to be soaked by 2 players each. He will jump to the furthest player each time, so stand on the outer corner of the inner tile at northeast and southwest. This order is the same order you got hit during Rearing Rampage. The boss will now de-transform. Illusory Creation spawns 4 clones that will always be at cardinals for this cast. Creation on command. Clones are given Sunforge mechanics. 2 will go off at a time. The first will leave either north-south or east-west safe. For this, you can line up with the Phoenix Sunforge. The second will either force you into the center 4 squares or to the 4 corner squares. The second set of Sunforge mechanics will resolve with the first hit of Manifold Flames. This is a 2-part mechanic. Either all supports or all DPS will be hit by spread. If you did not get hit by the spread, move into the boss's hitbox at your clock spot so that you can bait a line AoE. Tetraflare or Nest of Flame Vipers. Tetraflare. Split into your pairs and be in or out at inner cardinal tiles based on the clone's Sunforge mechanic. Nest of Flame Vipers. Spread around the boss at your clock spots. He will hit every player with a line AoE. Don't forget about the Sunforge clones. Volcanic Torches 2. 6 blue flames will appear on the sides of the arena. These will converge towards southwest. Look at the most southwest tile and see which way the lines turn. You will go opposite. If the south lines go left, you go right. If the west lines go up, you go down. There will be only 1 tile safe. Genesis of Flame. Another raid wide. Reforged Reflection. You will get the opposite pattern of the first time. Since we already explained the dog pattern, we will now explain the snake pattern. Make sure to be outside of the hitbox as he transforms. Gorgomantea. Players receive 2 buffs. Buff 1, you either get first in line or second in line. Next, you either have Blood of the Gorgon or Eye of the Gorgon. Eye of the Gorgon expires for a petrification cone the direction the player is facing. Blood of the Gorgon expires for an AoE that can kill a petrified snake. All DPS will either have first in line or second in line. 2 of these players will have Gorgon Eye and 2 will have Gorgon Blood, meaning you have to pair up. 1 player of each debuff together. Group 1 will take the first snake clockwise starting with north. Group 2 will take the first snake counterclockwise starting northwest. Designate one melee and one range to always be Group 1 and Group 2 respectively. The remaining 2 players will have to sort themselves. If a melee player can group with the other melee, then it is solved. If not, the melee goes to Group 2 and the range to Group 1. Do the same for supports, designating a tank always Group 1 and a healer always Group 2. Into the shadows. The boss will spawn 2 sets of snakes. They rotate around the arena. This can be different amounts, so be careful. They will rise from the ground and cast petrifaction, so look away. Then first in line Gorgon players will look at the snakes to petrify them, followed by first in line Blood of the Gorgon players standing near them, to kill them when their AoE appears. Repeat for second in line players. Be careful after killing the first snakes, as the second gaze goes off soon after. Ectothermos, heavy raid wide. The boss will now de-transform. Conceptual Tetraflare or Octaflare. Remember, Tetraflare is partner stacks, Octaflare is spread. Remember, these are delayed. Fourfold Fires. 4 proximity AoEs appear, so stand center. Catonic Vent. 2 of the 4 puddles will start to boil. These will explode in a very large AoE, so move away from them. After they explode, the magma worms inside will move to different puddles. Make sure to keep track of this and stay away from them. If they move to diagonal corners, make sure to have the north players stay north and the south players stay south in preparation for Octaflare or Tetraflare. Octaflare hits every player with a spread AoE. Tetraflare puts players in their pairs. This resolves at the same time as the second Catonic Vent explosion. The active vents can be diagonal to each other. You will not have enough room for all 8 players on one side if you get Octaflare. This is why we dodged the way we did. Sunforge. The vents go off again at the start of this cast and are done. Remember the earlier conceptual mechanic, as it will resolve with the Sunforge. Flame Viper. A 2-hit line tank buster requiring a double swap. Both tanks will have bleeds. Reforged Reflection. Continuing to alternate, you will get either dog or snake form of the boss. This time we will cover dog. Remember, there is a knockback. Quadrupedal Crush or Quadrupedal Impact. The boss will face a direction and then jump to it. For Crush, stay far away for the AoE. For Impact, it is a knockback, so get close. Conceptual Tetraflare or Die Flare. This will be held for later. Die Flare is just light party stacks. Have groups for Tetraflare be Northeast group closest, Southeast second, Southwest third, Northwest fourth. If it is Die Flare, groups 1 and 2 will combine for the stack. You can do more complicated groups for uptime, but this is a minor loss for simplicity. Blazing Footfalls. The boss will telegraph 4 mechanics and then execute them at the end of the cast. The first will always be a line AoE in front of the boss where he is standing. If Crush is next, you need to get knocked away from his next jump. For Impact, be knocked towards him. Resolve the Tetra or Die Flare as you are knocked back. Another line AoE from where he jumps to, and then the opposite of the first Impact or Crush. Make sure to be knocked toward or away properly. During the second knockback, pay attention to where the torch flames go. Yes, they are here too. They will come towards you and either move left or right. You will do the opposite. If it's knockback last, you can use the knockback to get there. The boss will now de-transform. Flame Viper, 2-hit line tank buster, swap twice and handle the bleeds. Reforged Reflection, the final dog or snake mechanics. I'll cover the snake this time. Always remember to get out of the boss's hitbox for the snake transformation. Gorgomantea. All 8 players receive Blood of the Gorgon and Eye of the Gorgon. There are 2 lengths for these timers, 29 seconds and 22 seconds. All DPS will either have long blood, short eye, or the opposite. Supports will be the opposite of what DPS get. Additionally, 2 more debuffs are given to 2 players. 2 DPS will get either Crown of the Gorgon or Breath of the Gorgon, and 2 supports will get the opposite. These happen at the end, so hold off for now. Into the shadows. 4 snakes will spawn at the same time and spin around the boss, ending on either cardinal or intercardinal positions. 4 clones will be cleaving the outer tiles, so your space is limited to the 4 inner tiles. To resolve, only worry about yourself and your partner. For short blood, you will drop it on the cardinal or intercardinal you share with your partner that does not have a snake. The long blood will be dropped on the same spot after you swap. For short eye, you hit the snake with it. For long eye, you hit the snake after swapping with your partner. Now for the final 2 debuffs, you need to find the side that the last Illusory Hephaestus is not cleaving. Have the crown of the Gorgon players stand behind the petrified snakes and the rest of the party inside to both prevent being hit by the petrified from the crown player and to kill the snakes. The Illusory clone killed the other 2. The difficulty here is sorting the party into 2 groups. Do you remember the first time we did the snake mechanic? We will be using the same system as before with a small tweak. At this point, all DPS will be either no buff or 1 buff. We need to make 2 groups with 1 debuff each. Designate 1 melee and 1 range to always be group 1 and group 2 respectively. The remaining 2 players will have to sort themselves. If the melee player can group with the other melee, then it is solved. If not, the melee player goes to group 2 and the range to group 1. Do the same thing with supports, having 1 tank and 1 healer, group 1 and group 2 respectively. Group 1 will take the first snake clockwise starting with north, the second group will take the first snake counterclockwise starting northwest. Now that you know where to go, let's see it in action. All that's left is Genesis of Flame and then Enrage. I'd like to give a huge thank you to both Woops for letting me use his VODs and Yumiya for a lengthy discussion about how mechanics worked. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day.